Hello, I'm looking for Ann Sheppard's room.
Please sign the visitor's book. Are you a member of the family?
Yeah, you could say that.
Oh, she'll be pleased to have a visitor. No one ever comes to see her. With the Alzheimer's, she has trouble remembering things, but it'll still please her, you know. It's room 19 at the end of the corridor.
Thank you. Hello, Mrs. Sheppard.
Is it time for my pills already?
No, Mrs. Sheppard,
They're never on time with my pills. I don't know what they do here. In the other hospital, they were always on time. But here...
My name is Madison Paige. I'm a journalist. I'd like to ask you some questions about your son.
I don't like this hospital. The food isn't very good, you know.
Do you remember John?
My Johnny. He is a good little boy, you know.
I know what happened at Carnaby Square. Do you remember?
Carnaby Square. I think I used to live there a long time ago. We didn't have much money at the time, you know. We had to make do with very little.
Your other son, Mrs. Sheppard, John's twin brother. What was his name?
What other son? Oh, I have no other son. I never had any children.
You had a son named John, and John had a twin brother.
Do you have my pills? It's time for my pills.
Try to remember, Mrs. Sheppard. John's twin brother was placed with a foster family after the accident. What was the name of the foster family?
I asked them for a television, you know. They said I didn't have enough money. It's a pity. I'm fond of television.
I think your son is in trouble, Mrs. Sheppard. He's done some terrible things. I need to find him. Do you understand?
Terrible things you're telling me. He never came to see me, can you believe it? In 10 years, never. No one forgets their mother, do they?
Mrs. Sheppard, your son may be linked to a series of murders. Perhaps you have some information that could help the investigation.
Are you a new nurse? Where are my pills? you know how to do these little dogs too. My children loved origami. I taught them how to do it. John loved the little dogs. He always wanted to call them Max. Max, Max, Max? All dogs with the same name. I was wasting my time telling him they couldn't all have the same name. But he always wanted his paper dogs Max. It's funny, isn't it?
Did you make these origami figures?
My little paper animals. They played with them for hours. I showed my boys how to make them, you know.
Yes, your boys, Mrs. Sheppard. John and... what was your other son's name again?
My other son? I only had one son, my little Johnny.
You don't seem to get many flowers, Mrs. Sheppard.
No, but I love them. My son knows that I love flowers. I know he'll bring me some. What a lovely orchid. My sons loved orchids. We used to grow them in the back. When John died, I laid orchids on his grave.
Are these your children, Mrs. Sheppard? John and his brother? Is that them?
They're good little boys. Their father never looked after them, always drinking. They didn't have an easy life, you know. I cried when they told me. I'd already lost one of my children, and now they were taking away another one, you understand.
The foster family, Mrs. Sheppard. What was the name of the foster family that adopted John's brother?
They were really very nice people. I met them, you know. In the beginning, I used to go and see my little boy. And then I got sick and I couldn't go any longer. Perhaps he thought I'd forgotten him. He must have thought I didn't love him anymore.
His name, Mrs. Sheppard. What was his name?
But I loved him. If you only knew how much I missed him.
Please, Anne. His name. What was his name?
Come closer.